Alright, welcome to this video everyone. I am Daniel and I will be talking about what's going to be happening on Boom and Crash Indices for the coming weeks, for the coming months, and maybe throughout the end of the year. Alright, so this video is not more of like an educational video that teaches you how to trade. This video just highlights the possible movement of the market as regards boom and crash indices. For boom and crash indices, I mean boom 1000, boom 500, boom 300, and crash 1000, crash 500, and crash 300. All right, as you can see, I already have some setups drawn, some things happening in the market already. I mean, there's a lot of movement, there are lots of expectations that we are looking out for in this market over the coming weeks and into the month and into the year actually. All right, let's begin with boom 1000. Now, before I go into talking about the expectations, what we're expecting from the market from boom 1000. All right, I just want to lay some foundations down. I want you guys to understand some things. Now, everything that's going to be said here, the principles used in analyzing this pairs, the strategy used in analyzing, and everything that you would need to learn before you would be able to analyze the pairs like this, or even understand everything that I have to say in this video. Everything that is being done here is with respect to the course, the video course that covers the strategy for boom and crash indices. So if you've not got that course, if you've not gotten the strategy, the video strategy that teaches you exactly how to trade pure price action on boom and crash indices, I would advise that you click the link below right now to get the full course. Now, the full course comes with the boom and crash strategy, the price action mastery guide, and it comes with 6 weeks of mentorship. All right, and it's available on the website. The link is in the description below this video. And then we also have the boom and crash strategy on its own. If you want, you could get that for yourself. Watch it, go through. It teaches you, I mean, it's expository. It explains how you can analyze, how you can catch spikes on boom and crash indices. All right, now back to boom 1000. Now, what are we expecting? Now, for those of you who've you've been part of our programs before, and I mean you've seen the way we analyze the market. All right, the first things first that we always say is that before you look for a long-term movement on the market, first things first you have to understand is where is the market coming from and where is the market going to, what is the overall direction of the market. All right, so now for boom 1000, we see from the chart that the overall direction of the market is in the upward direction. All right, this is a buyer's market, it's a bull market, and of course everything that is going to be happening on this chart in this channel is with respect to the fact that the market is in an upward movement. All right, so if the market is coming downwards to the downtrend, it's because it's gathering momentum for an upward movement. And if the market is in an upward movement, it's because it is a bullish market. Do you understand that? So now back to what the market is going to do for this period. All right, boom 1000. Okay, we've talked about this. I think I said this when we were talking about the strategy in the boom and crash course. All right, where I talked about the fact that we're expecting a heavy movement downwards from this point up until it gets to this line, and then we expect another massive spike from this line upwards. All right, so with respect to that expectation, one of the major things that I would let you know is this, that everything that's happening here, right, currently is pointing to the fact that the market is in a downward movement and it's coming down to this major trend line below. All right, it's coming down to this major trend. All right, so what we're expecting currently is that for this market to continue moving, now we're expecting this to happen, how that the market is going to come down from now. Okay, before I even go into that, let's quickly look at this. Now, the market began from here, it went up to this trend, all right, and then it came down to the lower trend here, all right, and then from here we had another movement upwards here, all right, and then it did come down here again, all right, it did come down here again. Look at this, it did come down here again, and from here we were expecting the market to continue to this point, but what happened, it came down to this zone here, all right, and then from here it began to move downwards, all right, and then okay, we were expecting, okay, since it's got here, maybe it's going to continue moving up here, but then no, it did not happen, but rather it came below the previous high, all right, so it's creating lower highs, all right, it's creating lower highs and it's creating higher lows, all right, that means that the market is coming down to the downtrend for an upward movement, all right. Now look at this, now we were expecting the market to go above this previous high, but it did not, rather it created a small trend here. Now let me delete all of this. Now it created a small trend here. Look at this spot here, look at this spot, it created a small trend here, all right, here and here, look at this, all right, so we have a small trend which the market is following, and the direction is towards this lower trend line here, all right, so we have this trend, the market is following this trend and it's coming downwards to this point, all right, and then when it gets to this point, we're expecting a massive bull run to this point here, all right, or it may even get down here and still do something here like this, like it did previously, and then continue coming downwards, all right. And one thing I know is that the market can never come down below, because this market is established as, you know, a buyer's market, and if it does anything like contrary to that, I mean, it's going to break the trend and it's going to break the principle of the algorithm that runs Boom 1000. First off, you have to understand that this market is a synthetic market, it's not a natural market, and everything that is done here is being simulated by algorithms. And one major thing that you should know about algorithms is that algorithms never break patterns. Okay, they continue moving in sequences, in loops. They call it loops. If you're conversant with IT, they call it loops. Now when an algorithm finishes a particular loop, it begins from the first line of code and it runs up until it gets to the last code, and it continues to sequence again and again. All right, so this market is an algorithm based market, and it can actually do this, all right. And then maybe we could have maybe a breakout from here and a breakout from here, and then we have a retest, all right, on this market here, and then we have a buy continuing from here. Okay, look at this. Okay, we can have something like this happening, all right, or we could have maybe the market coming downwards here and immediately buying to this point. Okay, so whichever the case, what you should understand currently now is that the market must first come down, it must first reach this place before any major movement. So what you should be looking out for is the movement of the market down to this lower trend line, and then a corresponding buy that's going to happen from this point here. Okay, so let's move over to Boom 500. What are we expecting on Boom 500? First off, like I said, you check what is the overall direction of the market and what are the likely things that, in fact, how does this market behave? One of the things that I would let you know about Boom 500 is that the market is very, very, very deceptive. Now look at this. Someone could literally come to the market at this point and see that there is a rejection from this zone many times, and you begin to think that, oh, this is like a double bottom, and you're expecting the market to buy. All right, now look at what happened here. After this happened here, there was a buy. All right, and then someone's like, oh yeah, it's gonna buy, and then the person gets on a buy, and then the next thing that happens, it gets to this zone where the Fibonacci trend is, and it begins to fall backwards. All right, so look at this. We had a double bottom here. Let me delete this. We had a double bottom here in this, in fact, more than a double bottom, and the market came down here and it broke through, retested, and it continued selling. All right, so now that same thing that happened there is the same thing that also happened here. Look at this point here. It's the same thing that happened here. All right, It's literally the same thing that happened at this zone. How that the market came here. See the first point here. We have this one, okay, and then we have where again we also have this point here. The market got here, it bought drastically up until the Fibonacci trend zone, and then it began to sell from there. The next thing happened, and we had the market gets to this same spot and it began to sell. All right, it began to sell from this spot here. Now the market has come down, it broke through that region, and it's created another, it has created another, look at this, another zone downwards. Look at this, it has created another area. Now look at, we have one and then we have two. It's created a double top, a double bottom, sorry, and then it's gone back to the Fibonacci trend. All right, now what are we expecting? Now with respect to the behavior of this market, we're now expecting that the market is going to get to this Fibonacci trend and begin a downward movement. All right, simple. Now let's look at this on a lower time frame. If we look at this on maybe the M15, let's look at this on M15. All right, let's look at this on M15. This is what we have for Boom 500. This is what we have for Boom 500. I just want to show you this real quick. Okay, I think we're having something like this here. Well, let me put this on M5. No, M15 is okay. Let's see this. All right, so we're having something like this already. Okay, so we're having this trend down, and we're having something like this again. Also, we're having this also. All right, sorry, let me get this, adjust this properly. All right, okay, so we're having this trend, and the market is walking inside this trend, and it's coming downwards. Look at this, it's coming downwards. We could adjust this, we could take this up and follow this, but then whichever the way you want to look at it, the market is in a downward direction. So we can be expecting that the market would get to maybe somewhere around here or over here, and it's going to continue selling again. All right, we know that the market's in a downward direction, because if you look at this on the daily time frame, we would see that the market is already on our Fibonacci level, and with respect to the previous behavior of this market, we would understand that the market is going to continue selling. So Boom 500 is projected to continue a downward movement, and then next up is Boom 300. All right, now Boom 300 is more of like a new index. It's less than 1 year old in the synthetic market, and it's still trying to create price history. If you look at this on the weekly time frame, all right, if you look at this on a weekly time frame, you will discover that we have very limited information available for us to tell the long run movement of the market. But you also will be tempted to think that the market is in a buy movement. All right, the market's in a buy movement. Now, why do I say this? Let's quickly go to Crash 1000. I'm going to come back to Boom 300, and I'm going to show you something. Now, look at what happened on Crash 1000. All right, now Crash 1000 began with a ranging movement upwards. All right, and then someone could just come into the market and say, oh yes, price has been created, price patterns has been created. All right, and then all of a sudden the market reverses and begins to move downward drastically without looking up. All right, that same thing could happen here on Boom 300. How that the market is beginning with something like, a downward movement. Look at this, it's ranging downwards. Sorry, it's ranging downwards. Look at this. Okay, and then all of a sudden it began to move upward, and then it's already coming downwards again. All right, so with respect to these big trends, we can understand that the market has not created any price pattern. It has not created any price history on the bigger time frames like the weekly or the monthly time frame. But if we look at daily time frame, we can actually get some information there if we want to take maybe this movement of the market. All right, now for example, now look at this. We had a trend. We had this trend. Now let's work with this trend. We had this trend. All right, and it got up to this point and it began to sell. All right, now when it sold, we were able to draft the upper trend line, which is this, and the lower trend line, which is this. All right, now the break through this area, look at this, the break through this area, look at what happened here. The market broke through this area and it got up to this point and it retested. Now when it retested this area, it created a confluence. Now a confluence is a point where we have like two signals meeting. All right, now look at this. We had this one here, one point here, and then we had this other point here. All right, look at this, look at this, look at what we're having here. So the market broke through this point, it went back for a retest, and the place where it retested is another trend line. All right, and then the market began to move downwards. So currently for Boom 300, what are we expecting? What are we looking out for? As you can see now, the market is playing around this zone. It's playing around this zone. All right, and we're expecting, look at this, it's just playing around this zone. The thing is, the market could go create a confluence. Like I said, a confluence is a spot where two signals meet. The market could create a confluence, and then all of a sudden it's going to. We know the market is selling currently, although we've not been able to establish the long run, direction of the market with respect to the bigger time frames like the weekly and even the monthly time frame. All right, but then if we look at the daily time frame, we could tell that the market is going to sell. Okay, and what you should be looking out for is this trend and how maybe the market could walk up to this. It could go back here. It could go back to this trend and continue its selling. All right. But whatever the case is, with respect to this trend here, all right, we should be expecting a sell. All right, now let's move over to Crash 1000. Crash 1000 is doing something so crazy. It's explicit, it's expository, it's self-explanatory, and what we are looking out for right now is a sell. I'm not going to spend much time on this, but if you want to trade Crash 1000, what you should be looking for is sell entries. The market is really spiking downwards. I mean, those who are on the signal group, those who are on the premium signal group are currently holding this trade and they're in massive profits. I mean, when I mean massive profits, I mean they are in massive profits. Let me say, for example, the lowest lot size is 0.2. Let me set a sell limit at this point so I could just show you how these guys have made a lot of profit. All right, now look at this. Look at this. Take profit. Maybe 7. Okay, let me set this here. All right, now look at this. This is where the market is currently. Now, from this point to where the market is, the lowest lot is giving $193. All right, $193, and with about $5 thereabout, or I think roughly $5, you should be able to take the lowest lot. So that's to tell you how much profit the people in the premium group are making, the people in the premium channel, signal channel are making from this trade alone, because this was given in the Telegram group some times ago and we were watching it. Currently, a lot of people are holding this trade on the premium signal channel, and they are milking a hell of profits from Crash 1000. All right, over to Crash 500. Crash 500 began with a ranging channel. It was ranging in this channel. Look at this. Look at what happened here. It was ranging in this channel, and all of a sudden it broke through this channel and it created another trend. All right, so from this trend, the one with the thick lines, it created another trend, and that's what we're having here. So the market left this bigger trend and it came to the smaller trend downwards here, and it's moving downwards. What are we expecting? We're expecting more downsides. All right, we're expecting more downsides on this market. I'm not going to go deep into saying some things, but we're expecting more downsides on the market. All right, and then for Crash 300, like I said about Boom 300, market is still trying to create patterns. Okay, it's still trying to create a pattern. It's still trying to create price history. So for now, we cannot say that there is an overall direction of the market with respect to the information that we have. But then if we look at this on smaller time frames, on one hour time frames, on 4 hours time frames, on daily time frame, let's look at 4 hours time frame or the 1 hour time frame, we could tell that a lot of activity is going on this pair. All right, what you should look out for is the trends. Put your trend lines, the lower trend lines, the upper trend lines. Follow the strategy that was taught you in the Boom and Crash strategy course, and you would understand what's happening in this market. All right, like I said, but for now, we're having the market moving in this direction. All right, it's trying to move upwards. All right, but then we have a trend line up here. The market, it's following this trend line. Sorry, it's following this upper trend. Now let's look at these zones. For those who have taken the full course, you would understand what is going on here, why the market is either breaking this area or coming below this area, and it's taking opposite movement. Okay, for those who have taken the full course, I can go into explain all of that, what's happening currently in the market. But what I'm going to tell you is that the market getting to this point means that, okay, we can have a massive sell downwards to this area. All right, or we could also have the market spiking upwards, retesting this zone. Okay, and then it's going to continue moving upwards. All right, so that is that I can say. Now, if you notice, I did not want to say a lot of things because of the sake of those people who've got the full course and the strategy that we have. All right, because it's going to be injustice, all right, that they paid for this information and I'm giving it out for free. All right, but this is the overall review of the market for Boom and Crash Indices for the coming weeks and even the coming months. All right, so that is that. If you look at Boom 1000, before I shut down, before I end this video, if you look at Boom 1000 is just repeating patterns. All right, it's repeating patterns. It's doing literally the same thing. All right, now if you look at this zone, look at this area where the market is. The previous time it got to this area, it began to consolidate and create some very funny patterns here. Look at the same thing here. That's the same thing that's happening here. All right, if you go backwards, you would literally see the same thing, how that at this area, all right, there are some consolidations, but it did not negate the fact that the market was in a downward movement at this point. All right, so that is literally the same thing going on with Boom 1000. All right, so if you want to take this trade, what you should be expecting is for the market to get below this area, break through this area, all right, and then get to this point, and you would be in for a massive buy. All right, you will make a lot of money from this trade. I'm not going to show you where. Like I said, if you want to get this, you need to get inside of our premium programs, and trust me, you would have no reason, you would have no cause to regret. All right, we have a lot of programs designed for anyone who is willing to become profitable trading, volatility indices. We have a lot, and we have signal services also. You could pay for a month, you could pay for 3 months, you could pay for 6 months, you could pay for 1 year. All right, and you would have 2 to 3 signals every single day. Profitable. You would make a lot of profit, trust me. All right, so that is that for this video. I hope you learned 1 or 2 things and you could apply that to your trading and your analysis. My name is Daniel, and this is the Volatility Indices Trading Institute Boom and Crash review. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.